Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? We can start now.
Just that. Dear friends, so I think we can start. Our meeting. So let me represent myself. My name is Olga Daicheva. I am the representative of Media Group Россия сегодня, Russia Today, but don't mix it with RT. We are big media holding media group, the parent organization of Sputnik News Agency. I am locating here in Delhi, in the center of Delhi. So I would be moderator of today's event. And please allow me to tell a few words. For us, today it's very important, auspicious day, we can say so, because we are organizing the first event with Pathway Global Alliance. And we are very grateful for this opportunity because in our plans we are thinking of signing agreement with Pathway Global Alliance. We are looking forward to become the media partner of Pathway Global Alliance, and we are very grateful to Pathway Global Alliance for today's event, giving us the possibility to have this webinar with journalists all over India. For us, it's very important. And my special thanks to Mr. Rajesh Bagha, Mr. Rajesh Bagha, Chief Patron, Pathway Global Alliance. He is a senior politician, former journalist. He was part of special delegation to Russia from India as an election observer when we have the election of our president. Mr. Bagha is participating in various Indo-Russian activities. He holds the position of vice president of Bharatiya Janata Party in Punjab. He remained former chairman of Scheduled Caste Commission of Punjab. And I want to give a word for opening remarks to Mr. Varun Kashyap. He is director, Pathway Global Alliance. Let me tell a few words about him, because I think we are going to be good friends and partners in future. Mr. Varun is also chairman of National Preparatory Committee India for World Youth Festival, which is planned to be in Russia in autumn of this year, and vice president Karate Janata Yuva Morcha. This is the youth organization of Karate Janata Party. Mr. Varun Kashyap, a journalist in the past, he is an active and visionary youth leader committed to national development and fostering global intercultural dialogue, with over a decade of experience for organizing impactful dialogue and debates across intercultural, interfaith, and philosophical platforms. Being MBA graduate from Punjab Technical University, he continues to be a strong advocate for youth empowerment, civic engagement, and India's active participation at the global stage. What you see, just give me 1 minute, dear friends. Why it's so important for us to establish good contact with Pathway Global Alliance? Because in this cooperation, we see the continuing of people-to-people diplomacy of our two countries. This is very important. And being the media partner of this organization is great honor to us. What about dear colleagues, journalists who are joining us today? You see, I want to tell you that I'm in India for 2 decades. And one tendency I notice, you see, we have long-term, strong relations between India and Russia. We have the exchange of delegation on in diplomatic sphere, in defense, in trade. But we have some lack of cooperation between the journalists, you see, and this is very important to us to establish good contacts with journalists, not only in Delhi. India, not only Delhi. India is so big, 29 states and everything. And to create some contacts, straight contacts between Russian and Indian journalists, and maybe some exchange of content, different ways of cooperation. So now I'm giving the word to Mr. Varun Kashyap for his opening remarks. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to all today's session of the Sputnik's Pro Workshop. The title is Fake News in India. On behalf of Pathway Global Alliance, I extend my deepest gratitude to all our partners, colleagues, experts, and attendees for making time to be part of this discussion. In a word, flooded with the information, the ability to distinguish truth and fabrication is no longer just a journalistic skill, it's a civic necessity. The spread of fake news is not only misguide public opinion but also poses real threats to democracy, peace, and global cooperation. The workshop is timely initiative to equip us all journalists, media professionals, academics, and social leaders with tool of recognize, question, and counter misinformation effectively. I would like sincerely thanks Sputnik News Agency and especially our distinguished moderator Olga ji.
And our speaker.
Yeah, yes, Chief Representative of Sputnik in India, our keynote speaker, Miss Victoria, Deputy Head Sputnik News, who decide the of journalism experience will guide today conversation with unmatched clarity and experts. We are truly honored by the presence of many respected institutions and organizations who joined us today. I would like to thanks to all of you to join us. I want to introduce some famous personality who is working in media, like Mr. Professor S.S. Dograji. He giving a too much contribution in journalism, and the member of Correspondence Club of South Asia. His Russian language was launched in the Press Club of India. Mr. Mr. Saurabh and Naina Mishra, journalist from Hindustan Time, Rishu Raj from Amar Ujala, like more personality are joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this information give us a new bright. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kashyap. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear journalist. We know how tough schedule you have, and anyway, you find time to join us. And let me represent our speaker my good friend, lovely boss, yes, very good professional, very good specialist, Victoria Polikarpova, journalist, media manager, working in mass media since 2001. So as you see, 24 years. While working at Sputnik News Agency, she has developed and implemented targeted content for various media platforms. In 2014, she started and managed a creative team of journalists and launched an international 24-hour newswire service in 5 languages. In 2023, became deputy director of Sputnik News, overseeing websites, social media, and radio production at the agency in various languages, including Hindi, friends. Victoria, so I'm giving word to you, so you are most welcome. All attention to you, please.
Thank you very much, Olga Vladimirovna. Thank you for the very warm words, for a very warm welcome. I'm honored to speak today in front of the Indian audience. By the way, just several days ago, at the very beginning of May, I traveled to India, to Mumbai, to the amazing and very, gigantic media event, the WAVE Summit. I talked to lots of people, I met lots of guests, I spoke on the panel discussion, and India was very warm and the most welcoming place on earth. And finally, I got physically to India. So I must say that I'm very proud to speak to the Indian audience today after I visited India and, realized that I somehow managed to understand India a little bit better. But other than that, there are several years today that we have been working in India with the help of Olga Vladimirovna, with the help of our journalists working in Hub, and working for India and, supporting Indian interests. And you know what? The one word that I really noticed was a key word during the summit in Waves, and the word that I heard today during the presentation that you gave, Olga, was the word India is going global. So it means that we as an international agency and Pathway Global Alliance, we may help each other in promoting India's interest in going global. And that's why it is very important not to spread fake news and stop the fake news to be spread. Okay, можно, пожалуйста, презентацию? Okay, I'm going to speak today on the how to spot fake news and how to stop it. Just, several examples from our own experience and how we at Sputnik are dealing with it. But before, diving in any further in the topic, just, very quick video clip about Sputnik News Agency, about what we do and how global we are in the world stage. Just take a look and listen, please. Погромче можно? Или они слышат?
Sputnik is a global multimedia news and radio broadcaster. We operate in over 30 languages worldwide. With 25 multifunctional hubs, we employ numerous local journalists. Our extensive network of correspondents spans the entire globe. This allows us to swiftly deliver exclusive reports, breaking news, and unique footage straight from the scene, all presented by our virtual hosts without breaks or days off. Sputnik provides fast, accurate, and up-to-the-minute coverage. This is why our content attracts around 20 million views daily. Our global radio audience exceeds 210 million listeners. Sputnik broadcasts in English, French, Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese, Turkish, Persian, and Serbian. We are the only international media outlet active on Iranian radio. We have more followers on Weibo than all Western rivals combined. In Turkey, no other radio station offers as many original programs as Sputnik. In Serbia, Sputnik outshines all other news media in citations. Sputnik India provides content in Hindi and English, with over 9 million views on X Weekly. Our correspondents in Moscow and New Delhi work tirelessly to deliver in-depth analyses and exclusive stories to you daily. Our posts gather millions of views and comments on social media and make major Indian media talk about us.
As our voice is getting louder across the globe, we will continue telling the untold.
Okay, yes, so this is a little bit information about Sputnik. And as you can see, the gentleman on this video clip is the Director General of our media group, of Россия Сегодня media group, Mr. Kiselov. And by the way, his voice was cloned to make him speak English. Because, we originally, the clip was made in Russian. So with the help of AI, we made him speak English, smoothly, perfectly, with the help of the artificial intelligence. This is all possible. This is what we use every day. But as you know, AI, can be elusive. It can be harmful. So getting back to our topic, the truth is elusive. Everyone has their own version of truth. But in today's media landscape, money-inspired hidden narratives often shout louder than facts. The more cash is poured into propaganda, the more fake news spreads, warping public opinion and swaying political and economic agendas. So how do we fight back? By sharpening our skepticism, questioning sources, and demanding real journalism. Because in a world drowning in misinformation, the truth is worth defending. That's what we at Sputnik do. Okay, so in this slide, this is a meme circulating on social media. First, it was posted by Elon Musk, but it very, vividly illustrates of how we are surviving in the ocean of mainstream media fakes. We're being attacked every day by euphemisms, propaganda, fabrications, unbalanced coverage by some media, lies of omission, diversion, half-truths, anonymous sources, and, we're trying to escape sometimes because this is just, ocean of mis and disinformation attacking us. With the accessibility of different AI systems, it is getting easier to produce illustrations, but the question is whether the AI-generated photos and videos are fake or not. So I'm going to show you several pictures. So this is the first one. This is the second one. And here they are together. So these images were generated by our editors, by Sputnik editors, with the help of the Grok, the Access AI system, which is becoming very, very popular today. It can both generate texts, answer questions, make analysis, and generate images. So it looks, at the very first glance, it looks like a very good photo of a very happy world leaders. It has the Russian President Vladimir Putin, it has a Brazilian President Lula da Silva, an ex-president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, and head of BRICS Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff. Except for the fact that Jair Bolsonaro and Lula da Silva never come that close together. So this could have been real, but it's not. So the question for the journalist is whether to post those kind of illustrations to illustrate the news brief, or an article, or a social media post, or not to post it. And what should we do with it if we post it? So how do we deal with it at Sputnik? We do such images, but we always warn the reader that it is AI generated. We put special captions, special, marks that it is generated by Grok, so that the reader is not deceived. He really understands that it is AI, being AI generated. All right, so here are several more pictures of a late Pope Francis. They were made maybe 1 year and a half ago. It was very big. It was circulating all over the place. It was even on, big media outlets such as Guardian and BBC. It was on Twitter. It was in Instagram. So the images, they were believed to be real at the very beginning. But if you look at details, you realize that we can understand that this picture was created by AI. So if you look at the details, Pope Francis' eyelid appears to merge into his glasses. The crucifix is held inexplicably aloft with the other half of the chain missing. His fingers, his fingers are crossed around thin air rather than the coffee cup he carries. And the glass is not detailed enough. And also you can notice that there is an unnatural light and the shadows on the picture are distorted. See, here's grabbing the air instead of the cup. All right. So pay special attention to details when you look at, hundreds and thousands of AI-generated photos on the internet. And now turning to the news that shocked the world quite recently at the very beginning of May, to the India-Pakistan escalation phase and how we at Sputnik dealt with it. This is a very serious matter to us, and because we're a very serious international news agency, we took a very deep and very, serious look at how we are going to cover this conflict and to search and to debunk the disinformation campaign that may arise connected to the India-Pakistan conflict. In the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack, which claimed lives of 26 tourists, the disinformation campaign was launched on on dozens of social media channels, and Sputnik India has always been, trying to debunk them because we are in a search for truth. So we did several thread publications, articles on the websites, and posts on social media to show that some of the statements were not correct. So India countered Pakistan's drone claims. Sources told Sputnik that part will expose Pakistan's disinfo campaign to the global community after claims by Pakistan's DG ICPR. So, how we explained it? What really happened? Pakistan's army media wing, ICPR, presented the so-called evidence at a press conference on April 29th, including digital data, call logs, and an Indian-made drone recovered from a terrorist. ICPR claimed that the terrorist was being handled by the Indian army officers. But it turned out to be a fake evidence. A digital forensic study by ICPR Monitor and Voyager InfoSec debunks Pakistan's claims, criticizing ICPR for conducting a forensic investigation on a live phone with dual SIM cards. This alone should have disqualified the entire exercise, the quote says. And there were also questionable call logs. The study questions how Pakistan could produce call logs from a terrorist nearly a year old and why a terrorist skilled in installing WhatsApp malware would fail to delete these logs. We also, at Sputnik India, we posted screenshot timings. Every screenshot was taken immediately after a message had been sent. ICPR says Majid, alleged Pakistani terrorist, was arrested on April 25th. So now did they manage to time travel to past to take screenshots? So there was no proof of Indian involvement into this case. They couldn't show a single Indian number, call metadata, ISP logs, or contact trail proving communication with India, the study said. The ISPR but even failed to identify the ex-Indian army officer. So, and this thread on X, on the former Twitter, it gained over 1 million of views. And you know, our Indian readers from all over India were commenting on it heavily, and they were saying, hey guys, thanks for, you know, telling the truth. Thanks for revealing, you know, the fake disinformation, fake information to us. And we even were contacted by the current Indian politician to give us a comment on that, because he saw this post. So going further, I'd like to show and tell you about 5 more incidents of how Sputnik India exposed how trusted institutions and media outlets manipulated narratives about India. So on this first slide, you see a tweet, a screenshot of a tweet by Critical Threats, and a Critical Threat is a organization of the American Enterprise Institute. So the tweet says, quote, India is particularly concerned about outsized Chinese and Russian influence. Brazil, India, and South Africa all opposed further BRICS expansion, partially due to the fears that adding pro-Chinese or pro-Russian partners would push the body towards a firmer anti-Western stance. Can you imagine? So this was a fake claim. India versus BRICS expansion. They alleged that India, being a part of BRICS, is opposed to its expansion, but this could not naturally be true. In reality, Sputnik India exposed the report as baseless, highlighting geopolitical manipulation, and the impact of it was that, I mean, not the impact of our debunking, but the impact of the fake information about India being opposed to BRICS. The effect was that it undermined India's diplomatic image, and also, you know, to the experienced reader, to the experienced journalist, it raises a question of Western think tanks' credibility, of whether we should trust Western media and Western media, you know, non-profit organizations or not. Okay. On the next slide, it is a story of how the, you know, 200 years old British publication, Financial Times, spreads fake news on the Reserve Bank of India, on the RBI. So they made a claim that Financial Times falsely reported IBI governor's resignation. In reality, it was debunked as sensationalism, and RBI issued immediate denial of this news. So the impact it had, it triggered financial market instability, and it eroded trust in the so-called legacy media that we all get used to, you know, read and believe every day. Okay, next slide. We have a screenshot of a fake letter on the alleged death of Pakistan's Prime Minister. So there was a viral letter claiming that Pakistan's PM was hospitalized. In reality, government confirmed that the document was fabricated. The impact it had, it spread panic, it weaponized misinformation, it spread chaos, and, you know, lots and lots of news outlets reposted this message, but they were wrong. You know, the more sensational news is, the more chances it is fake, and unfortunately, the more chances it may become viral. So we should be really careful with it. On the next slide, there's one more fake news. Now it is connected to Russia. The Russian embassy exposes war fake news. False reports accused Russia of striking an Indian farmer warehouse in Ukraine's Kiev. It was debunked, refuted as propaganda. So what was the aim of it? Of course, to spread panic, to escalate tensions, to try to set Russia and India at odds, and distract from factual war reporting. You know, Sputnik News Agency has been on the forefront of the Russia-Ukraine conflict from the very beginning, from 2014, up to the start of the latest war conflict in 2022. We have dozens of war correspondents working on the battlefield. We have dozens of editors and correspondents working in Moscow in our headquarters, covering the conflict and covering it, you know, from eyewitness news, from the very, you know, we see it with our own eyes and our own ears. So, you know, publications accusing Sputnik News of being, you know, untruthful about coverage of Ukraine events, you know, it's just, it just cannot be true. Because we have very factual-based reporting on this conflict. All right, one more case of fake news about India, and we have lately published a thread on Sputnik India about it too. It is about the Pahalgam attack and a low-quality image of an Indian fighter jet engulfed in flames after crashing in September 24, has been falsely claimed to show an Indian jet. It was, in fact, MiG-29, downed amid escalated tensions between India and Pakistan in May 2025. So it was misinformation. In reality, it was proven to be a recycled clip of a 2024 MiG-29. So the impact was that it exploited national Indian pride. It showcased dangers of AI-driven misinformation. Now, you know, getting a little bit more global, amid the raging fires in Los Angeles, you know, in the United States, end of last year and beginning of this year, footage of a burning Hollywood sign has appeared on social media, which was apparently a fake. Users complained that the image that went viral was generated by AI and also published real photos, you know, on the same day where there is no fire at all. So you can see it on the second photo on the right. Right. AI is also used sometimes to promote someone's policies. And in this slide, you can see a montage of a deep fake video of the president of France, Mr. Macron himself. He posted this video to promote Paris Artificial Intelligence Summit. In one scene, Macron dances to a 1980s hit song Voyage Voyage by French singer. In another part of the clip, he is inserted in a spy comedy film with Jean Dardenne. In the third, he sings a rap song. So why did he do this? Macron wanted to promote his summit. He said, well, nicely done. This is what you can do with the AI. You know, but there is much more that you can do with the AI. We can do some healthcare, energy, change life in our society, he added. So, on more of a serious note, what exactly is fake news? How do we define this term that has come to mean so many different things to so many different people? At its core, the fake news is those news stories that are false and do not reflect the reality. Either there is a story 100% fabricated, so nothing happened, not at all, or there is a story, but it has no verifiable facts, sources, or quotes. Also, the story may have some information that is distorted, you know, some lies in it. At Sputnik, we also consider that if the story, if the news event is not covered, it is silenced, then we also consider it to be fake news. Sometimes these stories may be propaganda that is intentionally designed to mislead the reader, or may be designed as clickbait, written for economic incentives. The writer profits on the number of people who click on the story. The main forms of lies are distortion and silence. And here I would like to show you a picture which is very, illustrative of how things can be done in reality. If we're not telling truth, if we as journalists are underreporting something, it is regarded as fake news. Now, I'd like to also tell you how one fake tweet may wreak havoc on the stock market, in this case on the US stock market. This tweet was screenshotted by me in the wake of the tariff war that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has started. He started a real fight, a real quarrel between the United States and several countries in the world. Amid a morning of pandemonium on Wall Street, a popular news aggregator on X, known as Walter Bloomberg, by the way, he has nothing to do with the Bloomberg News Agency, posted a false report declaring that President Trump was considering a 90-day pause on his controversial tariff proposal. Boom, the news was all over the place in seconds, because this is a very popular X account. This news was not true, and yet index funds like the Dow Jones whipsawed, rapidly rising before reversing course minutes later. This type of volatility is more meaningful than a stock's typical rise and fall throughout any given day, which is why the false report garnered so much attention. Now again, if you underreport something, this is fake news too. So, none of the Western media, so-called legacy media, reported quite back ago, like autumn 24, in maybe end of August, starting of September 2024. None of them reported news on the Khalistan radicals in India. And, we posted several messages on X with videos showing that a participant of a pro-Khalistan protests frightened Canadians. A Calgary resident asked the protesters to leave, that their slogans were very peaceful, so to say. However, signs displayed violent messages against India. Again, this is some news about pro-Khalistan protests. So, breaking: Khalistan holds rallies for terrorist suicide bomber. Convoys and rallies were held in Toronto, Canada, to commemorate the sacrifice of Dilawar Babar, who assassinated former Punjab Chief Minister Ban Singh. These videos were so popular on our account that several Indian TV channels called us and asked, where did they get this? And we were, just trying to tell the untold. By the way, if you noticed, this is the slogan of our Sputnik news agency, telling the untold. So we're trying to report the underreported or not reported at all news. So again, not telling something is fake news. And I want to get back to the November 2023, when the conflict between Israel and Palestine emerged. One of the editors texted me and saying, hey, we need to really break this message that this is a flash. Israel's disproportionate strikes on Gaza are a war crime, United Nations Commission says. It was at the very, harsh moment of time, at the very beginning of the conflict. And I said, of course, if the United Nations says so, we need to report on it. But then on a second thought, I asked the editors, but what is this report? Is this some kind of a briefing, or is it a video message? Where did the United Nations information come from? And The context in this particular news item was pivotal, because look at this quotation. The Commission clarifies that this report was completed before the latest outbreak of violence and covers the period from May 2021 to August 2023. So, getting back to our message, Israel's disproportionate strikes on Gaza are a war crime. So they considered the war crimes shelling Gaza before November 2023. Not the conflict that emerged at this time. So it was pivotal. So be careful with this, because if you don't put the context into your news messages, you will distort the whole picture. So what is fake news in media? The term itself has become very politicized, and some experts already call it information wars. It is used by some pundits to discredit any opposing viewpoint. Some people use it to cast doubt on their opponents, controversial issues, or the credibility of some media organizations, as we have learned today. Russia, India, and the countries of the global south are the most often objects of these attacks. In addition, technological advances such as the advent of social media and messengers enable fake news stories to proliferate, to spread very quickly and easily as people share more and more information online. Increasingly, we rely on online information, not on analog TV or other sources of information as we used to do it before. And information wars, I have one of the fresh examples, when there is not only fake news, but the whole setup, the fake happening, a stage provocation, or maybe considered fake news in order to defeat the enemy. So a warning comes from a Russian defense official. It is about Ukraine. Ukraine is preparing a provocation to accuse Russia of using toxic substances in its special military operation. Head of Russia's radiological, chemical, and biological defense troops said. So materials were fabricated evidence of Russian use of poisonous substances, and it was presented during the framework of the session of the Executive Council of the Organization of the Prohibition of the Chemical Weapons. It was back in October 2023. So the key statements debunking this fake news by the Russian officials came like this. Ukraine will hand over evidence of Russia's use of toxic substances. In the event of provocation is successful, Ukraine intends to seek to deprive Russian representatives of their positions in the OPCW Technical Secretariat. So this was a big story reported by the Russian media in order to prevent the staged provocation, in order to prevent the staged and fake happening. All right, in the Western media, there are lots of fake news regarding Ukraine conflict. So we have the same Washington Post article on the left and on the right, but on the left it's a screenshot made before they updated the story, and on the right after they updated the story. So the Washington Post has removed statements from an article of theirs suggesting that the former President Biden would supposedly permit Ukraine to use long-range missiles to target Russia after the presidential elections. They were really careful not to harm, not to, be very straightforward, but the readers noticed it. They noticed it in the comments section of the article, and they also posted, sarcastic messages on social media about it. So where does fake news come from, and for what reason? The first reason is, of course, a commercial reason. So more clicks means more money. Some news stories are created by people wanting to generate clicks for financial gain, regardless of the content. The second reason is internal politics. Partisan actors want to influence voters and policymakers for political gain, or to influence public discourse. For example, intentionally spreading misinformation about election fraud. The third reason is foreign policy, of course, something that we're doing externally. Several political regimes want to advance their own propaganda. In this respect, the term weaponization of news and information wars came to the forefront these days. And also there's a smaller category of people who are calling themselves satirists. So for the sake of satire, they want to make a point or entertain you, or both. In this case, we may mention pranksters, who are calling people in order to get the real news pretending to be someone else, and a political satire. The lines between news and entertainment are so blurry now, and the rise of the news channels is so explosive, and we have this pressure, this stressful pressure of the 24 hours news cycle, so that we have to, really stay alert, always stay alert and check information for fake news. Okay, so what problems we are being faced with in regards to fake news? Our consciousness is becoming more and more virtual. Everything online is taken for granted. According to a fresh poll, this is the first time in history that live streaming is predicted to top traditional TV viewing in the United States. I think the tendency is quite the same, both in India and in Russia. In Russia, there are several video streaming platforms like Smotrim or VK, Vkontakte, or YouTube that are, gaining millions of views per day. Adults spend more time watching digital video than, the legacy media. And this is also expected to rise by 50% next year. The tendency is quite the same in all of the world. So everything online is taken for granted. Fake news touches upon our basic and most fundamental senses and emotions. So, for example, fakes about children and the elderly are they're rising the very sensitive emotions inside us. Many people, when they see those news about kids or the old people, they do not, check the information. They simply believe what they see and what is written. Many of us have come across messages on WhatsApp, for example, saying something like, "Hey, please help and resend. We're looking for a donor for the child. Please share with anyone you can. An 11-month-old child is dying. He has a bone marrow tumor. The operation surgery is needed urgently. So please transfer money to this account." Yeah, we've all seen those messages before. So this is an example of how, those who are spreading fake news touching upon our inner emotions. They're playing with our psychological part. Also, replicating fakes and the digital footprint problem is very important. So even if the fakes have been deleted, even if they have been updated with the clarifications or the more up-to-date information, they continue to live. They are archived on the web. You can see archived texts and images and videos on Google, for example. It is searchable, so it cannot be deleted forever. It is called a digital footprint. It's one's unique set of traceable digital activities actions, contributions, and communications manifested on the internet. Also, a time factor in spreading fake news is also very important. We are always in a hurry to find everything about everything, especially journalists. So let me give you a very famous example. A former State Secretary of the United States, Colin Powell's vial that he showed at the United Nations Security Council back in 2003. Then it would have taken more time to verify information, whether his statements and the vial was, true. But now it would take, 2 to 3 days maximum. And the mainstream media are sometimes working according to some pre-written manuals and guides. Here, I want to tell you a ridiculous, I would say, story that shocked the Russian readers, both journalists and, just Russian people. This is a screenshot of a real publication by the New York Post, one of the most quoted English language mainstream media publication. I call this sex sells. So a United Nations official special representative on sexual violence and conflict, her name is Pramila Patten, she said that Ukrainian women are testifying to being raped by the Russian soldiers. It was posted back at the very beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war conflict. So it was very sensitive information. It was, specifically targeted at ruining Russia's reputation and ruining reputation of the Russian army. A UN official claimed Russia is using rape as a military strategy. Can you imagine? And she also said that providing soldiers with drugs it is used to sexually assault civilians. When you hear women testify about Russian soldiers equipped with Viagra, it's clearly a military strategy, she said. Patton added that the UN has verified more than 100 cases of rape of sexual assault. But later on November 10th, so this publication was posted on October 2024, so later on November 10th, it turned out that the United Nations Special Representative Patton herself, in a conversation with pranksters, said that experts had not yet found relevant evidence of the fact that Russian soldiers used Viagra. So this was ridiculous. It was refuted both by the Russian Defense Ministry and the Russian Foreign Ministry, but the fake news lives forever. It was spread among the readers, and it was delusional. When I read this story first, something just popped out of in my mind and reminded me of something. So I started digging, I started searching for information, and I did find it. So 13 years ago, Susan Rice, The Guardian, published a story that resembled so much this Viagra story of 2024. It was almost like, written word in word, only that it was about former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi army in Libya at that time in 2003. The Guardian wrote at that time that according to a top US diplomat on the UN Security Council, Gaddafi was supplying his troops with Viagra to encourage mass rape. This was stated by a UN's Susan Rice, if you remember this name, accusing Gaddafi of numerous violations of human rights. Earlier, Rice also said, without providing any evidence, that Iran is helping Syria to suppress internal dissent. So can you imagine? This looks like the publication by the New York Post was just a rewritten article of a 13-year-old story by Guardian, Yes, it is. And they're both, so to say, reputable, and we thought that they were trustworthy publications that everyone can trust and believe. Okay, getting back to more serious classifications. Here is a list that I've made of types of mis and disinformation. So first comes satire or parody. This we have already touched a little bit. Then a misleading content, imposter content, when somebody is trying to pretend to be someone else, a fabricated content, when everything is not true, 100% false. When there is a false connection, it means that the conclusions to the news story are made not correctly, they're wrong. False context, and by context we not only mean text but also visuals. And manipulated content. Manipulated content is, in I'd say 80% of the cases is done for political purposes. Right, so number one, satire or parody. No intention to cause harm, but it has a potential to fool people. Pranks are an example of satire, and if you know, there is a satirical magazine in France that is called Charlie Hebdo. There are several also US networks such as an Onion News network, websites like the Adobe Chronicle, etc., that are good examples of satirical websites. And a couple of years ago, also when the Ukraine-Russia war conflict started, the pranksters, the Russian pranksters, their names are Vovan and Lexus, they called the former, at that time, the acting foreign minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba. They pretended to be an ambassador of the United States to Russia, Michael McFaul. So they asked him a question whether Ukraine bombed the Russian Crimean bridge. And he said during the video conversation that they were posted online and gained millions of views, he said, yes, we did it. Can you imagine? So the pranksters pretending to be someone else. Well, this is not serious news outlet, this is not serious reporting, but with the help of this tool, they learned the truthful information. At the later time, Ukraine President Zelensky has confirmed that it was Ukraine who was behind the terror attack on the Russian Crimean bridge. Okay, so number two comes misleading content. Misleading content is misleading use of information to frame an issue or an individual. And I have a very good example connected to India, and this for this type of fake news. So let's look at how George Soros influences Western media to write anti-India propaganda. An article in one of the leading British newspapers, The Guardian, again, accused the Indian government of striking fear in the public and being anti-Muslim. The headlines reads like this: "He likes scaring people, how Modi's right-hand man, Amit Shah, runs India." Well, Amit Shah is an internal minister, hated by the West for his patriotism. And by the way, this is like on a more of a personal note. I can say that this is what brings Russia and India closer together. It's this feeling of very deep patriotism. It's this feeling of having our own national identity, and we're going to fight for it, and we're going to fight for the truth about it. Imposter content, I think, yes. Yes, this is the illustration of imposter content, is when genuine sources are impersonated, meaning they would like to be someone else. They're showing off to be someone else or something else. In this particular case, some website pretended to be ABC News website. But how can you spot it? You should just, very closely look at the URL. It's not the abcnews.com, but it is abcnews-us.com. So this website does not represent the big media outlet ABC. Imposter news will never be able to publish content from the real news agency's website. So if you're unsure whether the source is representing truthfully, Google the news source, find the website, or, it's better also to find the social media accounts that are verified, like on X, for example, with a blue check with it, and make sure that they're proper. Fabricated content. This is one of my favorite cases of fake news. At that time, I used to work for the Voice of Russia radio station. Some of you may know this because it was one of the biggest radio stations broadcasting in foreign languages, including Hindi. And we had lots of Indian friends also coming to our live broadcasts as guests and as experts. And at that time, it was 8 p.m. evening in Moscow. I was doing my shopping at a grocery store, and one of the shift editors called me and said, "Hey, Vita, there's great, very big news." I said, "What happened?" She said, "The AP reports 2 explosions in the White House and Barack Obama is injured." I said, "What?" I could not imagine that it was true. So I said, "So who is reporting it?" And she said, "AP." I said, "Okay, where did you find it?" I found it on their X on their X account. And I asked, "Are you sure that it is real?" "Yes, this is the real verified AP X account." And I said, "Okay, sure, let's post it." And she said, "Okay, let me look again." And we looked through different pages of big names like BBC, CNN, different Russian news agencies, Western news agencies, Reuters, for example, and we could find this news on some of them, but some of the agencies did not report about it because it was amazing at that time. And in several seconds, because we were, hesitating, it turned out we were right not to post it. Because AP themselves, they debunked the news, saying that they were hacked. So the news was all fake. But you know what happened? It rocked the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It immediately plunged and the investor lost $136.5 billion in seconds. Of course, it was a fake, but the market reaction was real. It was all too real. Okay, so what is this again the picture of illustrating how the markets plunged down and then went up again. So what can we do about fake news? How can we stop it? Some of the advice may seem very philosophical and very Captain Obvious to you, but I think this is the right approach. Think critically. Use the strategy to evaluate the accuracy of information you're reading. Think twice. If you have any doubt, do not publish or share this information. Ask a colleague or an expert in this field who specializes in this kind of information, and check the news brief for logic. If there is no logic, 100% true that it may be false. Yeah, I have 5 minutes more, right? Okay. It is also very handy for some maybe younger journalists to have these pieces of advice to check for videos that are fake. So how can we define a fake videos? There are signs of digital manipulation. a face or a body of a person is swapping. There is synchronization issues, like the speech is not synchronized to the movement of the lips. And there are some unnatural movements or expressions. Contextual inconsistencies. There is an unusual background or some elements of it that are not true to the picture. There are some technical artifacts, some visual artifacts, or some pixelation that may point to the fact that it is fake. Some behavioral clues, or you can use verification tools to check for video. There is this special deepfake video resource. You can also do a reverse image search on Google, or a cross-reference to check on the credible news sources. So here's also my quick strategy. Find and check the original, determine the trustworthiness of the source, check if there are republications, decide if content suits the type of media it was published in, and do not ever publish something that is out of your area of expertise. So the source must be credible, informed, named, and unbiased. And in this case, the success of a journalist may be 100%. So this is about all I wanted to share with you today. Hope information that I talked about you may find useful. Now I think we can get, if we have any questions, we can get, we have lots of questions.
Vita, we have a lot of questions.
Okay.
A lot of questions. So let's start. I'm afraid that I would just one moment. One moment. Friend, but next time when we are organizing, you please in your question right now from which media you are. Vita, how I unite three questions because they are on the same topic in one. How can multicultural journalism promote truth and bridge cross-border misunderstanding? And are international collaborations effective in the long terms?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as I said, online, we rely mostly on the online information nowadays. So the journalists are not only posting articles, doing radio broadcasts, doing TV shows and reports on TV. We're also doing lots and lots of posting on social media. And it's serious journalism that is being chunked into into shorter pieces nowadays, like bite-sized information pieces, whether it be a video interview or just a news briefing or a quotation by some politician. We may reach broader audiences by posting information. First, truthful information. Second, information in several languages, like Sputnik does. At Sputnik, we have around 30 plus languages that we are broadcasting in, both on social media and radio and on websites. And there is also, of course, the need to exchange information between the media platforms. And that's what we are successfully doing at the moment already with several Indian outlets. That's what we're really wanting to do with the help of the Pathway Global Alliance as well. We are always, inviting Indian journalists to comment on the Indian issues. We take comments from the Indian experts to comment on the foreign policy or on geopolitical events. So the more global this news exchange is, the more global audiences we may reach. India is very multicultural. It has 100 plus languages. Russia is also very multicultural, multi-ethnicity, multi-religious. So we have these things in common. If we reach those audiences with the help of the trustworthy, true information, we will get more and more readers online with the help of this. I hope I made myself clear.
Thank you. How should a journalist respond if they discover they have unintentionally shared or reported fake news? Anuj asking this question.
Mm-hmm. Well, this happens to everyone. I mean, even at reputable, trustworthy news organizations, even Sputnik sometimes post information that we have to refute several minutes or several hours later. Well, it is either a technical mistake, if it's about, like, let's say, data or figures, or it's a factual mistake made by the speaker when we, for example, record the interview. But I'm always saying we always correct our mistakes. We do not hide errors because there is no reason to hide it. Whenever you realize that you made a mistake, instantaneously try to update your post, update your article, to tell the reader the truth. Say, hey, this information was wrong. We are updating the article to say this and that. Because, the truth would always come out. If you posted the wrong information, just be as quick as possible to post the correct one.
Thank you. How to educate people and create awareness about AI bots creating fake news and hatred on social media?
Yeah, we at Sputnik are using AI extensively, but with experience comes this understanding that the news themselves cannot be written by AI. The news events should be covered by real people. They should be written by the real editors. The information should come from the real reporters on the scene. And you really notice a difference when you're reading, for example, a deep-seek text of the news, because it is really that perfect. It doesn't have any inconsistencies. It is very punchy. The text is very attractive. So it's too perfect to be true. And answering the question on how we can raise awareness of this and how we can, educate people, we should do more workshops like this. We should always try to find sources that debunk the fake news. In Russia, there's a special Telegram channel that gained millions of subscribers that is debunking, refuting the news on fake war reporting. So it's only about fake war reporting on Ukraine conflict. And, it's only in Russian, but it is translatable by Google in all the languages. So we really need to read those publications that already we rely on. Some journalists that we read every day and we think that they are true. And another thing that is very important. So, for example, on Indian news, we're turning to the Indian outlets. On the Russian news, we're turning to the Russian media outlets, because the news that happened in that country is it is most likely truthfully covered by their own regional and local media. So we would never, at Sputnik, cover the Indian-Pakistani conflict by turning to, let's say, German media or Iranian media or some African media outlets, just because we need to hear information from, like, eyewitness information. from the first the first information, not the second-hand information or third-hand information. And the same regards to news that come from Russia. So, for example, for the official quotation by Vladimir Putin or the head of foreign ministry, Mr. Lavrov, I call to the journalists to get to the Russian media outlets, to Sputnik, to TASS, to RIA Novosti, to RT, to different Russian agencies, to get the real quotes. Because if you get it somewhere else, it may be delusional, it may be disinformation or something else, or it may be an old quote, which is also a fake news. So this is my question, or this is my answer to your question.
Thank you, Dita. Ramesh Swaminathan would be happy to know the legal consequences in case of wrong reporting or misreporting rather unintentionally.
Well,
legal consequences.
Yeah, the legal consequences are different in all the countries. I mean, we should turn, of course, to the legislation of the country itself, either India or Russia. But in Russia, there is a law, ad and information law, saying that, for example, you cannot disclose names if there is a criminal investigation going on, right? So, and you cannot call a criminal before the court sentence. So this is the example for which you can go to jail if you report on it. And if you report, for example, fake news on Twitter, I think there was a big story, a big issue in Spain about a man who manipulated news about a young kid, an underage kid, and he was put to jail for 11 years because of this. So you should really, really pay attention to what you especially if it's, it's okay now. If it's about underage, if it's about a criminal investigation or some, a political investigation. Also, I now remember that we really have to be careful with the election coverage because in each country there is like a day of silence before the election that you may not break. So really take a closer look at the local legislation. For example, even being the Russian state news and information agency and reporting about India, about Indian news, we really have to be paying attention to the local laws. That's what would help a young journalist.
Thank you. Pranav telling that great session. I am a journalist at Times Media, and he's asking a question. Why are emotionally charged headlines more likely to be shared, even if they're misleading?
Well, yes, thank you for this question. I partially, talked about it during my lecture, but the thing is that, again, the more attractive, the more bombshell, sensational news is, the more likely it is fake. And the more sensational it is, the more emotions it's touching in ourselves. So the people who are doing this, they're being very good psychologists. They're playing upon our emotions. That's just the fact that we have to pay attention to. That's just the fact that that we have to remember every time we read sensational, emotional, breaking news. Because if it's factual, it's not at all times sensational. So try to look for more factual statements, for more factual headlines.
Thank you. Wish was asking, what role does confirmation bias play in spreading fake news?
Well, of course, there are different ways to confirm whether the news is fake or not. One of the ways is just, to call one of your experts who you have on your contact list on your phone, because experienced journalists have big contact lists of people from different spheres. Let's say you have news on exceptional rise of oil prices, let's say in one country, and some outlet is breaking this news and you see it and you're questioning whether it is true or not, whether it is a reputable source or not. So you can call your own expert and say, hey, Mr. Ivanov, say Mr. Singh, can you confirm that this information may be correct? And if you do not confirm, please tell your own opinion. By this, you will have your own news, your own information. It will be exclusive. You may post it, and this is one of the most valuable and trustworthy information that a journalist may have, and exclusive information that only he or she has.
Thank you, Vita. And now the question, Ravi from News Media, he is asking, what are the most common indicators of a fake news article?
Mm-hmm. Well, it all depends on the context. Remember, I've given you an example about how a flash about Israel-Gaza conflict without the context was, seemed to be truth. But when we realized the context, when we read the whole report, we understood that it was not true. So read the context, read between the lines. If you're a journalist, you already know what the story is about. Let's say there are stories on India, Pakistan, there is a story on Israel, Gaza, there is a Ukraine war. So there are big topics that we're covering almost every day for several years, even maybe for several decades. So if you're a journalist, you already know what happened last month, last year, last decade. You know the background. So if you know the background, something may seem not right when you're reading the article, right? So you may find inconsistencies, and I've noticed it during my speech. You may find that the news brief is illogical. Also, look for illustrations. If illustrations are old, from older times, the whole report may be old. And there are several more things that you pay attention to, let's say if it's a social media post, just search for the same information on the same platform. If big names are reporting it is more likely to be truth. If nobody's reporting about it, the story may be false.
Thank you. Anuj Pralswal, he is writing, thanks for the session, good going. Thank you, Anuj. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and we are going to another question. What is the legal, again, what is the legal aspect in this? Any penalty at international level? How one can verify the source? Sometimes sources has been found compromised.
I think at this moment, this is a very good question, and I think lots of people are raising this question on big forums and summits these days, AI specialists, designers, journalists, politicians, and I do not have the answer to this question. I think at this moment, there is no international regulation to the AI, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's trying to find solutions to it. But, the laws are still very local and it's not global. So I guess in the upcoming years, some international body should be established to decide on how can we regulate AI fakes. But at the moment, as far as I know, there's none.
Devilal is asking you the question. How do algorithms on social media contribute to the rise of fake news?
To the rise of fake news. Well, I guess, okay, I'm going to tell you yeah. Yeah, I know how X platform does quite the opposite. It helps the readers to realize that something may be fake. There's this thing called community notes on X that, for example, you've posted information that some of the readers find not truthful. So they write a message to the community note, and the Grok, the artificial intelligence on X, checks the information for truth and posts a message like a warning, this may be not truth because of this and that. And this is a very good thing. Sometimes the algorithm is wrong because it's an algorithm, because it's not real people, because it's AI. But in most of the cases, it is very helpful for the readers, for the young journalists, for the everyone, to realize that it's not truth. So beware of those community notes. I'm not sure that other platforms have this thing except for X, but there is no, to my knowledge, there is no specific algorithm that promotes fake news. The algorithms just promote news. And if they are going viral, if they're spread quickly, and they are, the algorithms would promote it, whether it be truthful or fake.
A very interesting remark. This is a remark. Unfortunately, I can't see the name. Great session, Victoria. Just concerned that you are using the phrase fake news as an umbrella term. Doing that scapegoats the media for all kinds of disinformation, whether it comes from the media or not.
Well, yeah, I'm using fake news for like an umbrella term. It's a global term for any kind of mis and disinformation. Someone may call it subjective, but we should really try to find a balance between, reporting, news reporting, and debunking these stories, because I think this is our one of the main roles and one of our main main roles as a journalist to debunk these stories. Because if we don't do this, then the whole world would be in chaos. So I really call for the journalists to try to find truthful information, if you do, to debunk it.
Thank you, Vita. Another question. Taj Elam. Can humor or satire be mistaken for fake news?
Well, as I said, in my classification, it is regarded as fake news. In Russia, there's a very long history of a satire. We have lots of different humoristic shows on TV. Different movies with lots of Russian humor in it. But on a more of a serious note, remember my example of pranksters pretending to be someone else, calling the politician and getting the real news? So in this sense of the word, satire is a good thing. It what makes us inform the people about something real.
So maybe Vishal asking you, what's the difference between biased reporting and fake news?
Well, a biased reporting, to my understanding, is when you're attached to some political party or you have affiliation with some political forces. And this is very clearly seen, for example, on the two US media outlets, the CNN and the Fox News. Everybody knows that Fox has been pro-Republican and CNN pro-democratic, sorry. And if you read articles from both sources, they seem to be factual, they seem to be based on real information, but they are biased. They are biased in terms of, because they are promoting some agenda. So if you're promoting someone's agenda just very one-sided, it is a bias. If you're misreporting and misinforming people, this is called fake news. So this is the difference.
Mohawk, very interesting question, it seems to me. Should there be stricter laws or censorship policies to prevent the spread of fake news? If yes, how do we balance that with freedom of speech?
Well, you know what? I'm not in the position to call for stricter laws or stricter regulations. I just think that there is a need to regulate those things. But the thing is that how can we punish someone who is anonymous, for example? Because lots of social media accounts are not having names. I mean, they are somebody called something, but it is we cannot check whether it is affiliated with some news organization or it is someone, a real person. So we cannot punish anonymous sources. This is one of the problems that arises together with it. So I'd say we need regulation for AI. We need platforms like fact check or things like that. We need algorithms like community notes on social media, and we need to talk about it more and more. Thank you.
Thank you. What role should schools and colleges play in media literacy?
Oh, that's a good question. My daughter is 8.5 years old, and they have those classes that are called internet грамотность. What's the word for грамотность? Yeah, internet literacy. In Russia, yeah. So we live in Moscow, and she goes to the second grade. She has internet literacy classes. She also has financial literacy classes, so that she can handle her own pocket money. So yes, it is a big issue with the kids, with the teenagers specifically. We just need to, let them know that there is this thing. Everything that you do online leaves a digital footprint. Like if you go to some website, if you open it, if you log in and then you log out, it cannot be unnoticed, right? The information stays online, and that every step the kids take online, every step is being watched, and information about them may be collected. So there are those classes. I'm not sure about the colleges and universities, but I think there is also this course, and people. There's also a especially dedicated Telegram channel for Russians by the digital ministry. We have the digital ministry in Russia who is overseeing all the media outlets, like us, for example. So the digital ministry publishes information on how to stay alert and not to give out your financial information, how to, correctly use websites like Gosuslugi, like the website where you leave all your personal information. So I think this education should be done on different levels: schools, colleges, universities.
Thank you. When fake news, Ashok Anuj is asking you, when fake news is published and the reader believes it, and then it's corrected and published again, then whom will the reader trust?
Who are we to trust?
Yes, because first like that, then like that,
Yeah.
whom to trust?
That's a good question. It all depends on your background and on your reader's experience, on what you as a reader experienced in your life. Like, for example, me, I'm a very experienced reader because I read like tons of information every day. Let's take a student from the college who is like 18 years old, for example. He used to read several teenage social media channels about, I don't know, cars, about singers or movies. And then he's faced with some political biased, or sorry, not biased, a political fake news. So what should he do? He first read this, and then he reads on another outlet that is not true. If he has a guidance, or if she or he has a guidance, a teacher or a professor or a parent who can help them, and choose the right, I'd say, mixture of channels of information to use, then they can decide for themselves what to believe. I mean, we all know that Reuters, Associated Press, RIA Novosti are the very established media organizations that are believed by most people in the world. And when we read information published on those reputable outlets, is most likely it is true. So if you read a smaller, like local newspaper channel, it may be untrue. But again, if it's a local conflict, for example, yes, it's working now, you should better turn to the local news to cover it or to read about it. Like a local TV station, for example, would most likely air or broadcast more information and more videos about like a farmer's protest, for example, tractors, protesting some economic measures on them, than the bigger outlets, because the bigger outlets, they would most likely, report on more international news than on local news. So again, it all depends on your reader's experience, your reader's background, and young people just should follow some guidance on this.
We have million questions, but it's lack of time, unfortunately. So one more question, and do fact-checking organizations have their own agenda, affiliation to certain political parties or certain corporate giants? The question by Samir Poi.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes. By the way, I'm not sure that you're aware that Sputnik News Agency has been banned by almost every social media platform except for X for the last 2 years. Sputnik has been banned from Instagram, from Facebook, from YouTube. All of the Sputnik accounts in all the languages. Can you imagine? We have 30 plus languages. So we had dozens of accounts on these platforms. And the Meta platform and the Google's YouTube, they just deleted our accounts without any noticing, just because we are Russian state organization, Russian state media, just because for political purposes. So whenever you're so sorry, what was the question again?
The question, 1 minute. Do fact-checking organizations have their own agenda, affiliation to certain political parties or certain corporate giants.
Right. Sorry, yes, I forgot why I started with the banning. So let's take Facebook. So they do not want any other information than that, than that of the Western media. They have CNN, they have Fox News, they have Al Jazeera, they have BBC, they have all, the legacy media on Facebook. They have everybody on Instagram, but they don't have Facebook. And the Facebook has their own fact-checking platform. So do you think that the Facebook fact-checking platform is neutral? Do you think they're balanced? Do you think they're objective? Well, my answer is no. And the rest, you should just decide for yourself. But
Dear friends, unfortunately, we have so many questions left, Victoria. What I can propose, dear Mr. Bagha, dear Mr. Varun, so maybe we can organize one more session on this topic or another topic, because it seems that our webinar is you are very interested in what Vita just telling you in our webinar. But at the same time, we are interested too in organizing such sessions with you, because honestly speaking, mostly we're organizing such sessions with students of media colleges, universities. It's very interesting. But here at our session, it's quite another level of conversation, because we are speaking with professionals. And that's why, of course, it's not enough time. So my proposal, and I think Vita can support me, and she could find time.
Of course.
On this topic or another topic, or we can continue just 1 hour question and answers session, if already Vita telling and about fake news and making presentation. So let's discuss this. So Mr. Bagha, your impression, your words, because both of us, we were initiators of this event, you see. So how your opinion about how it's going on?
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. As this useful and thoughtful workshop come to an end, I feel happy and proud to say thanks you on behalf of Pathway Global Alliance. First of all, we thank Sputnik News Agency for bringing this important program to us. A very special thanks to you, Madam Olga, head of Sputnik India, for her help us and support during this session. We are very thankful for her knowledge and leadership. And special thanks, Mr. Rashpal, Madam Olga team member. We are also grateful to our special speaker guest, Madam Victoria Polikar-Ova, Deputy Director of Journal Information Directorate. Your talk helps us understand how fake news is spread and how we can stop it. The tips you give to find out what is true and what is false will help us a lot. This session has not only taught us something new, but also reminded us how important it is to speak and share the truth. We also thanks media groups, journalists, university, college, and NGO. We support and participation make this event every special. Finally, I want to thank our team at Pathway Global Alliance, every who work hard behind the scene. Your effort make this event possible. Let us reminder what we taught today and always support honesty and responsible journalism. And you once again, we hope to see all in next session with the same energy and interest. Thanks, ma'am. Olga, very, very thanks.
Dear friends, dear Mr. Rajesh Bagha, dear Varun Kashyap, dear Mr. Uday Sood, even if he is not here with us, he was also playing a big role in organizing this session. Dear Mr. Rashpal, my very good friend, supporter, dear Victoria, without you this session impossible, so we are very thankful for you. My thanks to Moscow team of engineers and the members of the Department of International Cooperation. Ася Самойлова, Настя Пучкова. Yes?
हाँ, ओल्गा मैम जस्ट मिनट, मैं जितने भी भारत के ना जर्नलिस्ट जुड़े हुए हैं, मैं सबको कहना चाहता हूँ भी जिन्होंने सुना है वो अपने अपने इस पर विषय पर जरूर लिखें और जो जनरल नॉलेज उनको मिली है नॉलेज वो आगे शेयर करें। जी मैं सबको एक बार फिर कहता हूँ, तो जितने भी भारत के हमारे साथ अभी, क्योंकि हर एक प्रदेश से जुड़े थे, मैं सबको धन्यवाद भी देता हूँ। तो उनको कहूंगा भी इस पर जरूर लिखें और इस पर बोलकर भी वीडियो जरूर बनाकर हमें भेजें। धन्यवाद।
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Thank you to Nastya Bычкова, Ася Samoylova. And first of all, thank you, dear colleagues. You are here from, you are professionals. You are highly professional people. I know, I'm 20 years in India. My deep respect to you. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for asking such interesting questions. Thank you for your support, because asking questions and so attentively listening to our speaker, it means that we are making something of mutual interest for both parts, for us and for you too. So our thanks, and Mr. Bagha, Mr. Kashyap, I think we are continuing to discuss our memorandum of understanding. Yes, we are continuing our common work, our common initiatives. Let's think us to become your media partner. For us, it's very interesting, especially during the festival, youth festival in Moscow. So we have great perspective in front. And let's organize some more sessions, because we have a lot of topics and we have a lot of speakers, who can highlight this or that topic. Thank you all. With my thank and love, thank you all, Mr. Rajesh.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been an honor
dear
for
colleagues,
me.
Yes, dear colleagues. So I do not tell bye-bye. So till next meetings, friend. Expecting and looking forward for our next meetings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.